Part 37. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 361. Hearing Tiankai's words, Wang Feng couldn't help but smile softly. Haha. Bribing me? Okay. Then take some, tell it that as long as it doesn't hurt anyone and can support us when we need its help, we won't treat it badly, let it live here peacefully. After saying that, Wang Feng turned and walked out of the hive. Of course, on the way, he didn't forget to enter the beehive next to him and took a lot of honey before leaving. After leaving the hive, Wang Feng jumped down from the willow tree and came to the gate of the Bishui garden. His walkie-talkie has not made any sound until now, which is a good sign, because once someone talks inside, it is estimated that some place has been attacked again. However, now is only the first day after the second drastic change, and there shouldn't be too many mutant creatures coming to the door. After all, mutations can't happen so quickly, right? Moreover, the creatures that are mutated now seem to be small creatures, such as bees, cockroaches, mice, sparrows, etc. It is estimated that the speed of mutation is proportional to the size of the creature. The smaller the creature, the faster it will mutate. Therefore, it is conceivable that in the near future, perhaps this planet will be full of mutant creatures. This is also the reason why Wang Feng did not say anything and quickly asked Duan Lei and others to enter Awakening. After this thick fog descended on this planet, human life will definitely become more difficult. Wang Feng can't control other places. At least he hopes that the strength of the base must be improved quickly, so that they can ensure that they can gain a foothold in this world. After waiting for about an hour, the first wave of survivors finally appeared in the distance. They were the survivors of the farm in Ganlin County. Because of the short distance, they all walked. Hundreds of guardian warriors sandwiched these survivors in the middle, protecting them, and walked all the way to the Bishui garden. As time went by, more and more survivors gathered in the Bishui garden, and the Bishui garden became lively at this moment. In each residential building, there were people waiting downstairs to meet these survivors. They would be assigned to various rooms. When the rooms were full, the corridors and hallways would become their temporary residence. Arranging these people took Wang Feng a whole day. In the end, even the central square was full of survivors. Countless tents were built, all of which were bunk beds, so as to save space to the maximum extent. After all the people were settled, Wang Feng finally breathed a sigh of relief. Now, except for the guards stationed at the Black Dragon Bridge, all the survivors of the entire Hope Base have been gathered in the Bishui garden. Although it is crowded, at least it is safe. This is the only way Wang Feng can think of. After all, he is only one person. If he does not bring these survivors back, he will not be able to take care of dozens of farms. Now at least he can guarantee the safety of these survivors to the greatest extent. As for the farms outside, he will see how to build them after Duan Lei and his team have all awakened. The resources of Juking City and Haki City have been fully recovered, so building a few farms should not be a problem. After all these survivors were gathered in the Green Water Garden, although the safety was guaranteed, it also brought new problems. The eating, drinking, defecating and urinating of millions of people is definitely not an easy thing to coordinate. Fortunately, the managers of the buildings in the Green Water Garden are more experienced. Even without the maintenance of the core personnel, they can barely stabilize the order of the entire Green Water Garden. It is estimated that Lu Feng should have made a great contribution. Even if the Blood Hand Butcher does not show up now, he is still very deterrent, so during the period when Duan Lei and his team entered the awakening period, there was no major chaos. However, as the saying goes, there are all kinds of birds in a big forest. During this period, some people took the initiative to make trouble. Because there were too many people and the living conditions were different, and now these survivors have nothing to do all day, it is inevitable that there will be some friction over time. Those who live outside are dissatisfied with those living in the building, and those who live in the corridor are jealous of those living in the room. In the end, there are still hundreds of people who feel dissatisfied and quarrel with the people in charge of managing the residential building. The reason of these people is why can they live in the building, and we have to live outside. However, Wang Feng did not give face at all at this time. After discovering that someone was making trouble, he went over to ask, and then ordered the guards to drive out all the more than 300 people who thought that they were treated unfairly for living outside. Since it is an extraordinary period now, Wang Feng will certainly not let these people make trouble here. He asked the guards to drive more than a dozen cars directly, put all the guys who participated in the trouble in the car, and then took them to the Black Dragon Bridge, drove them all out of the car, and let them fend for themselves. You think it's unfair, right? No problem. Then you don't have to stay here. It's not fair for you to go anywhere. Hope Base won't keep you there. After this incident, the survivors finally knew how to survive in Hope Base. Wang Feng didn't dare to leave the Green Water Garden during this period. Although he also wanted to go to Black Dragon Mountain to see to what extent the plants and creatures there had mutated, he was the only high-end combat force now. He was afraid that after he left, the Green Water Garden would be attacked by some mutated creatures again, so he stayed in the Green Water Garden honestly. However, it is not to say that Wang Feng has no understanding of those mutant creatures, because he has been carefully observing those mutant bees these days. He found that the bodies of these mutant bees are getting bigger and bigger, and now they have grown to the size of a fist. Of course, this is also the result of Wang Feng taking out some mutant zombies and mutant corpse kings and throwing them to the queen bee. Now Wang Feng understands that these mutant creatures do not seem to have reached the limit of mutation, and they may become stronger and stronger in the future, while the strengthening speed of humans seems to be no match for the strengthening speed of these small creatures. In the current Hope Base, although most of the survivors have become strengtheners, this world is no longer the era that has just entered the end of the world. Although only 1 year has passed, now an enhancer is indeed not a strong person in this end of the world. I am afraid that a dozen mutant bees can easily kill a first-level enhancer. After comparing the combat power of the mutant creatures with that of humans, Wang Feng couldn't help but worry about the future of mankind, but now he was powerless. He had a hunch that after this second upheaval, the surviving humans in this world might have been baptized again. Even their Hope Base lost more than 30,000 people, not to mention other human bases. Taizu, that guy, was also awakened by Wang Feng after he came back. This guy was seriously injured in the attack of the mutant bee swarm. Wang Feng was too lazy to treat him, so he simply gave him an awakening potion and asked him to find a place to sleep on the top floor of the club. At first, Taizu was not very happy. He wanted to accompany Wang Feng here and wait for Duan Lei and the others to finish awakening before going there himself. However, after being scolded by Wang Feng with a dark face, he had to take the awakening potion reluctantly and go to awaken in shame. During this period, Wang Feng has been outside, because he has to rely on Tiankai to continuously absorb the life energy floating in the thick fog. However, perhaps because the population density in the Green Water Garden is too high, the thick fog in the Green Water Garden is now very thin, and basically no longer affects the vision. However, because they know the danger outside, the survivors do not have the courage to sneak outside to absorb the fog. Wang Feng told them very clearly that if they go out privately and encounter danger, the Hope Base will not go out to rescue them. Since you do not obey the orders of the Hope Base, then don't expect to be protected by the Hope Base. It's such a simple truth. As time passed day by day, on the 12th day, those who entered the awakening period began to complete their awakening process one after another and truly became awakened. However, Wang Feng was not in a hurry to send these awakened people out. He had to wait until all the people had completed their awakening, gather all the people, and launch a big operation. On the 15th day, all the core members had awakened, including Taizu, who was a day late. They all woke up from their slumber and became awakeners. Since everyone had awakened, Wang Feng's plan, which had been good for a long time, should be implemented. So he called all the people together again to discuss the future development direction of Hope Base, whether to fully develop the occupied territory or to continue to expand outward while consolidating Hope Base. From Wang Feng's personal perspective, he would definitely choose to expand outward. Of course, this expansion does not refer to the expansion of territory, but to go to other places to save survivors, kill zombies and mutant creatures. Because of the characteristics of apocalypse, Wang Feng can only grow after experiencing battles. For example, the collective awakening of everyone in Hope Base this time was not because of the accumulation of the previous battle in Juking City, which allowed Wang Feng to produce so many awakening potions. Now he has few revelation points left. Although he can collect a lot of revelation points in the fog every day, compared with the consumption of revelation points, such a few revelation points are just a drop in the bucket for him and are not taken seriously by Wang Feng at all. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 362. At this time, the club was very lively. All the core figures who had completed their awakening were present. When they became awakened, they realized that the difference between the evolved and the awakened was not even a little bit different. This is also why when Wang Feng returned, it was so easy to deal with the mutated swarm, but Taizu, as a second-order evolver, had no ability to stop the swarm invasion. It can be said that no matter which attribute the awakened person has awakened, it will not be too difficult to deal with such mutated creatures that are not strong in single body ability and win purely by numbers, because after awakening the awakened person's own attribute, almost every time everyone will have an almost domain-like ability. Just like Wang Feng can spread the ice power around himself, so that the mutated bees that enter the range of his power are directly killed. If the fire attribute is awakened, then the awakened person can release flames around himself, burning the mutated creatures that attack you. Now Taizu is using his special power to roast bees and eat them. When he was at the farm, Wang Feng killed a large number of bees, but ignored the corpses of the bees. When Taizu left, he asked people to kill them. He brought all the bee corpses back, because according to him, this thing is a kind of delicacy, which is quite delicious. Seeing Taizu eating roasted bees with relish, Tang Haoshan and Gui Wuivong also came over to try the taste. As for Lu Feng, he had already joined Taizu and was enjoying the meal. For Lu Feng, there is only good and bad food in this world, there is no such thing as what can be eaten or not. For him before the end of the world, the only thing that can fill his stomach is food. Okay. The current situation is basically like this. Let's talk about which direction we want the base to focus on in the future. Wang Feng has just told some things that happened when these people were sleeping, but in fact there is nothing to talk about. Yes, he just took all the survivors back to the green water garden, and then studied the growth of the mutated bees. As for the fact that Wang Feng had in-depth exchanges with her several times in his love nest after Lu Wanting ended her awakening, Wang Feng naturally kept silent. Let Xiao Lei say, we are just following the command. What do you think we should do? What is there to think about? Gui Wuivong naturally handed over the task of using his brain to Duan Lei. Others naturally had the same idea, so they all looked at Duan Lei. Instructor Li Yingning did not attend their meeting. Wang Feng went to see the instructor after he came back, and once wanted to give Li Yingning an awakening potion, but Li Yingning refused, but there was no reason for the refusal, he just said that he did not need this thing. Since the instructor didn't say anything, Wang Feng couldn't ask more questions, so he could only give up. For Li Yingning, a meeting like this, which was related to the future development direction of the Hope Base, would be the same with or without him, because he wouldn't go. What to do when leading a team out? In Li Yingning's words, I'm here just to make a living. If you have someone to train me, I'll help you train. If not, Then don't bother me. I'm the instructor, nothing else. Dry. Lei saw that no one said anything, so he simply stood up. After thinking for a while, he slowly said, I think we should develop in both aspects now. Before, we were divided into the War Department and the Life Department, although now we are basically divided into two departments. There is no difference between the two departments, because all the members of the Life Department have become awakened, and in terms of combat strength, they are on par with those in the War Department. And for us to be able to improve so quickly now, I think the biggest contribution is to Madman. His abilities are indeed abnormal, which basically allows us to keep up with him. This is also the biggest advantage we hope the base has at the moment. When Lei said this, everyone present nodded and looked at Wang Feng. Absolutely no one would refute what Lei said. In fact, without Wang Feng's magical power, I'm afraid the Hope Base the current strength has shrunk by more than 10 times. But the Madman's ability still has a limitation, that is, it requires a large amount of zombie strengthening liquid. Without this, the Madman cannot produce so many potions for us to use. Therefore, our external raids must not be carried out. Stop. One is that we need a lot of materials to build our Hope Base, and the other is that we need to kill a lot of zombies or other mutant creatures to provide materials for the Madman's abilities. Lei paused for a moment. There is another situation. Lei thought about it and decided not to announce it for the time being. That is Wang Feng's potion. It has reached its peak. Tiankai told Wang Feng that the awakening potion will be it. It is the highest level potion that can be produced, because the awakened person has almost reached the threshold of a 4th level creature. If you go up to attack level 5 creatures, you need to rely on your own efforts and some luck. It cannot be achieved by relying on potions. Wang Feng will naturally tell Lei about this so that he can be mentally prepared and make arrangements. This factor must also be taken into consideration when doing things later. For the time being, we will focus on building our Hope Base in the next phase. You should also know that the farms we built before were basically not considered defensive because we felt that the location of our Hope Base was relatively safe. As you can see from the current situation, our Hope Base is no longer as safe as we imagined. So, we have to rebuild those farms. Fortunately, we have collected enough materials before, building the farm should not be a problem. But crazy, I don't recommend you to stay at the base. I think you can organize a team of people and go outside. That map is probably not that accurate now, but at least the location won't change. Leave the inside of the Hope Base to me. I will be responsible for rebuilding the Hope Base. The farm that will be built again will be mainly used to defend against the attacks of mutant creatures. There will be no more annihilation of the previous farm. In addition, the Black Dragon we also need to clean up the other side of the mountain, but we should be able to leave these to the members of the War Department and the Guardian soldiers. Madman, your mission is to kill, crazy killing. According to you, the mutated creatures in this world will become more and more powerful, and our enemies in the future will no longer be limited to zombies, but all the people in this world creatures, so after a while everyone will report their attributes and specialties, and then let the Madman choose a team of people. This team of people will be the main force of our operations in the future and the main force of our exploration outside. The specific personnel will be selected by the Madman. All other people will stay, including the Guardian warriors. Now that the world has changed again, I am afraid that even the evolvers it is not as strong as before, so we must be careful and cannot take it lightly until we have a thorough understanding of the changes in the world. I just calculated that our current engineering teams can be divided into 6 teams. Starting from tomorrow, these 6 engineering teams will start work at the same time. The first step is to establish the farm in Ganlin County, within a month at the latest. 6 farms will be built, and some of the survivors will be sent out. The Guardian soldiers will also allocate part to protect the construction of these engineering teams. As for the person in charge of each team, we will discuss it together later. After the Madman's combat team is formed, we decide again. Now, whoever wants to go out with the Madman can sign up. At the same time, he will introduce his awakened attributes and fighting methods, and let the Madman choose for himself. Duanlei looked at everyone, then at Wang Feng, and then sat down. He did not introduce himself, because he was staying at the Hope base anyway and could not go out, so it would be useless to introduce him. But now Duanlei's combat power, in the entire Hope base, he can definitely be regarded as a member of the top combat force. Wang Feng's judgment was correct. After he became an awakener, Thunderstorm has undergone tremendous changes. Although it still attacks indiscriminately and cannot distinguish between friends and foes, the range and duration can be controlled by oneself. Duanlei can even be directly released. A separate electric arc is used to carry out single target attacks. In other words, Duanlei now has the ability to continue fighting. He can no longer release a big move like before, and then basically loses his combat ability. In fact, Duanlei didn't know that this lightning-type power was originally given to Wang Feng by the aliens. Unexpectedly, Wang Feng was so generous that he directly gave this mutant attribute to Duanlei. I just left an ice attribute, but those aliens didn't dare to show up at all, so I had to let it go and follow Wang Feng's toss. Brother Feng, take me with you. Unexpectedly, the first one to stand up was the boy Martian. He looked at Wang Feng pitifully and said, "My awakened attribute is the same as your name, it is Feng. It's very fast, I can be a scout for you in the future. Go away." What can't Brother Feng see with those eyes? Are you still using you as a scout for him? Before Wang Feng expressed his position, Hao Shui on the side yelled, "Brother Feng has clairvoyance, so he can see whatever he wants, I can see further than you. Your skills are of no help to Brother Feng." Hearing Hao Shui's words, Wang Feng's face darkened instantly. Is this kid so bad at talking? What does it mean to watch whatever you want? Is there such a metaphor for Nima? Looking at the expressions of those people in the lobby who were suppressing their laughter, one could tell that every one of these guys was thinking wrongly. Zhang Xiu, who was the most outrageous, held onto his clothes in an exaggerated manner and looked at him with a vigilant expression. Wang Feng, you are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 363. Hao Shui also realized that he seemed to have said the wrong thing, and quickly tried to make up for it. Hey. I mean. Okay. Stop it. Wang Feng quickly stopped Hao Shui. Who knows what this heartless guy will say next? Maybe it will get darker and darker, you'd better talk about your own awakened attributes. Oh. My awakened attribute is Earth. In addition to petrification, my superpower also has an Earth cage, which can be used to trap the enemy for a period of time. When I fight on land, my body recovers very quickly. Hao Shui was stunned for a moment, and then answered honestly. Immediately afterwards, Lu Feng, Tang Haoshan, Lu Qiang, Gui Wuivang and others also talked about their awakened attributes and changes in their abilities one by one. After listening to everyone's awakening attributes and changes in their abilities, Wang Feng unable to help frowning. Duanlei seemed to have discovered something and was also lost in thought. They discovered that it seemed that after becoming awakened, the gap between everyone had really narrowed. Apart from their own tendencies, their other differences seemed to be just different attributes, and their abilities were basically the same. For example, Hao Shui's attribute is Earth, and his superpower is the Earth Cage. Tang Haoshan's attribute is Fire. His superpower can also use flames to form a cage that traps people, which can be called a flame cage. Lu Feng's attribute is Gold, so he can even directly turn the metal around him into a real cage to imprison people. Among all the more than 100 core members, only Taxus and Zhang Ruhao are really valued by Wang Feng. The abilities of the others may not become special until they discover them themselves. Tessis was originally able to see through other people's thoughts, but now she has become an awakener. What she has awakened is mental power, and her power has also become mental control. She can briefly control a creature whose mental power is not as strong as her own to obey her. Command, of course, is not permanent control. It lasts only less than 2 minutes. To be precise, it should be 100 seconds. Of course, Tessis did not say this power directly in front of everyone, but after he completed his awakening and felt the direction of his awakening, he went directly to Wang Feng to explain his new power. Wang Feng, I was shocked at that time, because this kind of power is absolutely incredible when used in battle. Let alone 100 seconds, even 1 second can have a huge impact on the ever-changing battlefield. Effect. In order to verify Tessis's abilities, Wang Feng even volunteered to become a test subject and let Tessis control him. However, Tessis' control of him failed directly. Maybe it's because Wang Feng still has Apocalypse in his body? Apocalypse's consciousness and Wang Feng's consciousness have basically merged into one, so they are immune to Taxus's mental control. Wang Feng asked Tehis to try to control the willow tree and the mutated queen bee again. As a result, neither of these two guys could withstand Tehis's mental control. They were successfully controlled by Tehis for a full 100 seconds, and then, Wang Feng pulled Gui Weivue, who had completed his awakening, over again. As a result, this unlucky guy was also controlled by Taxus Duo. Fortunately, Wang Feng was not in a prank mood, and did not let Gui Weivue tell anything about his embarrassment. It's his luck. After understanding Tehis' ability, Wang Feng once again told Tessis not to reveal his awakening attribute and his own abilities, because this kind of ability is too terrifying. As for Gui Weivue, after the control is over, he also looked at Tehisi with fear. He was not dissatisfied with Wang Feng for using him as a test subject. On the contrary, Wang Feng's willingness to call him over shows that he trusts him. At least now, he can be sure that he will not be someone who can absolutely be trusted in the future. This ability of Tessis must not be revealed. This is even better than Tehis' ability to detect people before. The secret is even more terrifying, because she can not only know people's secrets, but can even control others. In other words, if she wanted to kill Gui Weivue just now, she didn't even have to do it herself, she could just let Gui Weivue commit suicide. After Gui Weivue was mentally controlled by Taxus, Gui Weivue felt how terrifying Taxus was, the feeling that his consciousness was blurred and all the activities of his body were out of his control. He definitely didn't want to do it again, and he never wanted to do it again. From the expression on his face, Wang Feng also understood the terrifying aspect of Taxus. At least, in the current Hope base, in a one-on-one duel, apart from Wang Feng, I am afraid that the only one who is good at concealment assassination is killing the three. Xiao was able to deal with Taxus. Therefore, when Tessis came forward to introduce her attributes and abilities, Tessis just mentioned a spiritual ability and did not go into details. Wang Feng, who had a tacit understanding for a long time, naturally ignored her. And start asking the next person. After all the people introduced themselves, Wang Feng selected 16 people. Including himself and Sang Xiao, there were exactly 20 people. However, Sang Xiao had not become an awakener yet, so he was not included for the time being. These 16 people are, Lu Feng, metallic, with the ability to control metal, Tang Haoshan, with the fire attribute, with the ability to be burned by flames, Texas, with the spiritual attribute, with the ability to control the mind, Mars, with the wind attribute, with the ability for Feng Ren, with Mars joining the team. His damaged friends Hao Shui and Li Fei are naturally indispensable, and now Li Fei actually has a girlfriend, who is Dai Guo's daughter, Dai Yifei. Li Fei was also a soldier, and he was also Dai Guo's subordinate. He had known Dai Guo's daughter Dai Yifei for a long time. Moreover, Li Fei was also from Dai Guo's village, and he was Dai Guo's junior. However, they were no longer together before the end of the world, so they did not meet again until Dai Guo came to the Hope Base. However, because Dai Yifei is now a soldier of the Guardian Corps, she has not yet become an awakener and cannot join Wang Feng's team. Fortunately, Li Fei also understands this, and he did not choose to quit because Dai Yifei could not join the team. Li Fei knows that following Wang Feng to hang out outside will definitely be more dangerous, but there will be more opportunities, which is the best choice to make himself stronger. In addition to the above 6 people, the other 10 people selected by Wang Feng are Meng Fei, Li Gu, Li Tianxiang, Gui Weivang, Su Mo, Zhang Xiu, Qin Yu, Huang Hua, Luo Keiying, and Apollo. Apollo was basically there to make up the numbers, because Taishi's ability was quite powerful, so Wang Feng would of course include Taishi's in his team. Apollo, who was jealous, would naturally not let his wife go out with a group of grown men to fool around. He had to follow them no matter what, even though there were 2 women, Qin Yu and Zhang Xiu, in the team, and Apollo was quite worried. After confirming his team, Du Enlai began to assign other personnel. He divided the remaining personnel into 8 groups. 6 groups would bring guards to protect the construction teams to build new farms, and the other 2 groups would form an expedition team to clear the Black Dragon Mountain. Du Enlai did not need them to go deep into the Black Dragon Mountain, but only needed to clear the periphery of the Black Dragon Mountain so that there would not be some mutant creatures harassing them at any time. Du Enlai knew that the situation was different now. In the past, he might have been able to find and kill all the mutants in Black Dragon Mountain to ensure the safety of Hope Base, but this method would definitely not work now, because insects and plants far outnumbered those mutants in both number and reproduction speed. Therefore, Du Enlai did not intend to start a war before the thick fog completely disappeared. However, before Wang Feng and his team officially set out and crossed the Black Dragon Bridge, Du Enlai would let Wang Feng and his team, with the Guardian Corps, open up the route from Ganlin County to the reserve warehouse. As long as this route was opened and all the ammunition inside was emptied, Du Enlai was confident that Hope Base would once again become the safe paradise for humans it was before. Before, the main enemy he considered was just zombies. Although there were also mutations in plants and animals, the number was small and the danger was not great, so Du Enlai did not consider so much. As for now, Du Enlai would of course build Hope Base in a targeted manner. Lu Wanting originally wanted to join Wang Feng's combat team, but was directly rejected by Du Enlai, because Lu Wanting was strong in designing defense systems, and Du Enlai would naturally not give up this helper, and he felt that Wang Feng should not want Lu Wanting to follow him outside. After all, he hoped that the safety factor in the base would be the highest. Moreover, Lu Wanting was a woman, and her mind was more delicate than Du Enlai. If she had not installed protective panels on all the buildings in the Bishui community, perhaps the survivors in the Bishui community would have suffered casualties during the mutant bird invasion. It was precisely because those mutant birds could not break through those protective panels that they were eventually attracted to the willow tree by the sound and lights, resulting in the annihilation of the entire army. Seeing Du Enlai assigning personnel to stay at the base, Wang Feng was planning to gather his own combat team to let everyone know each other's attributes and abilities, so that they can have some tacit cooperation in the future battle. However, at this time, Wang Mi suddenly appeared in front of him. Seeing Wang Mi, Wang Feng couldn't help but frown. He had clearly given the 3 little awakening potions to Shalu Mi the day before yesterday and asked them to complete the awakening immediately. He didn't expect that Wang Mi hadn't used it until now. After Wang Mi appeared, he directly whispered a few words in Wang Feng's ear. Wang Feng was stunned after hearing it, and then said to Lu Feng, "Old Lu, you wait for me here, I'm going out to meet someone. If there is anything, Wait until I come back. After that, Wang Feng turned around and hurried out. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 364. Meeting someone, Lu Feng was a little confused. It's the end of the world. Is there anyone still coming to visit relatives? Who is he? He's mysterious. Gui Wuivong's head was filled with questions. Remember the man who saved the madman last time and gave him the map? Tang Haoshan saw some clues. Because he could come to Wang Feng now and no one came in directly, Tang Haoshan could only think of that mysterious old man. Of course, the person who came to Wang Feng was the mysterious old man. Today they are preparing to sail the space battleship away from Wang Feng and their planet. This means that from today on, they will lose control of this planet. Their plan, whether it can be implemented smoothly or not, has been completely placed on Wang Feng. As for the three miners, they can only be regarded as assistants. After all, the only one who can truly threaten the Devourer is Wang Feng, who has the apocalypse. If Wang Feng does not grow to the height expected by the leader of the Kali tribe in the future, this planet will undoubtedly be destroyed by the Devourer army, and their escape from the Kali tribe will also end here. Since the energy of the space battleship has basically been exhausted, it is impossible for them to find another habitable planet. Although they can still survive in it for a period of time after the energy of the space battleship is exhausted, but the period was meaningless for them, and now they could only place all their bets on Wang Feng, the lucky man who had received the apocalypse. When he came this time, the old man wanted to personally confirm whether Wang Feng had been controlled by the autonomous consciousness he had secretly left in Apocalypse, because it was not the time yet. If that consciousness awakened early due to the core of life, then we can only choose another person. At first, because he was afraid that there was not enough time, the new master of Apocalypse would not have time to grow up. The leader of the Kali tribe did not hesitate to almost exhaust the little energy in the space battleship, and used the 5-level energy bombs he had originally prepared. It has been upgraded to level 7 energy bomb. For the Kali tribe, this was considered a desperate move. If it didn't work, it would be a failure. However, the old man then received news from the third child, saying that Wang Feng did not seem to be controlled by that autonomous consciousness, and he finally settled down. The leader of the Kali tribe actually didn't know that the backup plan he had prepared, that is, the autonomous consciousness, had not only awakened, but also did not take over control of Wang Feng's body according to his preset settings. I want to kill Wang Feng directly. The place where the old man chose to meet Wang Feng was at a farm in Ganlin County. Because at this time, all the personnel of the Hope Base had been gathered in the Bishui garden, so there was no one else in the farm except him, which made it appear that very quiet. Wang Feng came to the farm under Wang Mi's guidance. Because Wang Feng was not unconscious now, Wang Mi did not dare to recognize the old man. When he reported to Wang Feng, he was also talking about when he was patrolling outside. Unintentionally the old man was found in the police station, and then the old man said he wanted to find Wang Feng, but refused to enter the Hope Base, so he came back to report. Old man. Hello. After Wang Feng saw the old man, he bowed respectfully to him. In any case, the old man's previous reminders came true. The date of the second drastic change was precisely when the old man predicted happened that day, and because of the old man's advance reminder, they made preparations in advance. Although they still lost more than 30,000 survivors, Wang Feng was still grateful to the old man. No need to be polite, I came here this time because I saw the future again. For the continuation of mankind, I can only come here to remind you, the old man said leisurely. Wang Feng couldn't help but turned green when he heard the old man's words. Come again? Damn, is this not over yet? It won't be like the Chinese New Year in the future, with such a drastic change every year, right? If that's the case, there's no need to worry about it. You'll be beaten to death sooner or later anyway, so you can just quit. In a month, about 40 days, a group of powerful enemies will appear on our planet. With your current capabilities, even with your base, you will not be able to compete with them. So, here within a month, you need to work hard to improve your level, and after those enemies appear, don't fight with them for the time being, unless you have great confidence in your own strength. The old man looked at Wang Feng and said. Wang Feng's face turned even greener when he heard that the time was 1 month later. Just now he was thinking that it would be the same as the Chinese New Year, but he realized that this was not the Chinese New Year, this was his aunt. Come in just 1 month. Old man. Where did these enemies come from? Wang Feng asked. The future I see is not very clear, but it should not be the original creatures of our planet. They are likely to be outsiders. Moreover, the batch of alien creatures that will arrive in a month will not be all of these creatures, because I have a premonition that 1 year after they arrived on our planet, more of these creatures will come to our planet. The old man looked up at the foggy sky and said. At that time, it was the biggest crisis for our planet. Whether mankind can survive this crisis depends on your efforts. This picture you hold is similar to the previous one. It was a new drawing by me. Some of the green dots on it are humans, the red dots are mutant creatures, the yellow dots are a lot of resources, and the gray dots are zombies. That's all I can help you with. As the old man spoke, he took out a map again and handed it to Wang Feng. Then, without waiting for Wang Feng to speak, he continued, you can go back, I am leaving too. I hope we will meet again in the future. Wang Feng was focused on the map in his hand and did not notice that when the old man said, I hope we will meet again in the future, he was actually looking at Wang Mi, and Wang Mi was looking at him at this time. He also looked at the old man and nodded slightly, imperceptibly. Old man. Aren't you going back with me? This place already belongs to the Hope Base. Why don't you stay here for a while? Wang Feng asked the old man tentatively, wanting to keep him here. No. I still have my own affairs. As for the details of those creatures, you don't need to ask me. I have seen so much. I have told you all. Remember my words, and you must improve your own strength as soon as possible. If possible, before the large forces of those creatures arrive, first deal with those who come first, and integrate the humans together to fight against the large forces behind them. The old man shook his head and rejected Wang Feng's invitation. When the second wave of creatures arrives on our planet, it will be time for the final battle. The planet that wins ours will be saved, and the inheritance of mankind will continue, and those who lose, it's all over. The old man turned around and left with a sad expression, leaving a final message to Wang Feng. When the real enemy comes, if I am still alive, I may come to you again so that I can take care of myself. Wang Feng stared blankly at the old man's retreating back, then looked down at the map in his hand, suddenly put the map away, and ran towards the blue water garden without looking back. When Wang Feng came out to meet the old man this time, it can be said that he felt unprecedented pressure. They still regarded those mutated insects and mutated plants as their formidable enemies, and prepared to build a hope base while guarding against them. But after hearing what the old man said, now their current thinking is wrong. The real enemy is not a creature on this planet, but a foreign invader? Wang Feng did not doubt the authenticity of what the old man said, because no matter from which point of view, the old man should not lie to him. Moreover, even if they knew that foreign invaders were coming, they would not be aware of the mutation of this planet. It is impossible for living things to ignore it. Moreover, everything the old man said to him before came true, and he was given a new map. Although the creatures he mentioned will not arrive for more than a month, it is quite simple to verify the authenticity of this map. What's more, what the old man has been emphasizing is to let Wang Feng improve his strength as soon as possible. This cannot be the key to harming Wang Feng. Wang Feng thought like this, but kept walking. He was thinking about whether to make some changes to the plan he had made before, but after thinking about it, he decided to forget it. It was a bit unreasonable to change the plan he had just made, and besides, it was originally in the planned plan. He was going to lead the team out to increase his strength. However, I am afraid that the construction of the farm needs to be changed. At present, it seems that there is no need to restore all the previous farms. Just build the farms in Ganlin County and some farms around Ganlin County to be able to restore those survivors. Just arrange them all. Since it is said that the fastest of those creatures will be 1 month later and the slowest one will be 1 year later, then there is no need to set such long-term goals for the time being. As long as these survivors can persist through this year, the rest will depend on what happens at that time. Thinking of this, Wang Feng decided that he could only tell Duan Lei what the old man said, and hide it from the others for the time being, otherwise people would talk too much and everyone in the entire base would know about it, which would only cause panic in the base. Moreover, except for himself and Duan Lei, even if other people know this, it is basically of no use. They never come up with any ideas and just follow orders. Even guys like Lu Feng and Tang Haoshan are like this. They will do whatever they say to Duan Lei. Once it is time for them to make up their minds, they will all shrink back. After leaving, no one would take the initiative to come forward. Back outside the club, Wang Feng took out the map from the apocalypse space, took a deep breath, stabilized his emotions, and walked into the club with a calm expression. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 365. Seeing Wang Feng walking in, all the members of the combat team looked at Wang Feng, but they didn't say anything. However, Wang Feng could also see from their eyes that these guys were very concerned about who they had just met. Out of curiosity, he raised the map in his hand and said lightly, "It's a courier." Hearing Wang Feng's words, everyone was confused. If you don't want to be such a cheater, if you don't want to say it, just don't say it at all. It's all about express delivery. Are there any courier guys now? But now that Wang Feng said so, no one could ask any more questions, especially Mars, who actually said, "You are so dedicated." Okay. No more ink marks. Come and take a look. Wang Feng waved his hand and called for everyone to gather over. Then he spread out the map on a table, looked at it and said, "The green dots are survivors, and the red dots are survivors. The dots are mutant creatures, the yellow ones are resources, and the gray ones are zombies. Look, we have to choose a circle that can be completed within a month. Who will set the route?" Meng Fei raised his head and looked at Wang Feng. He seemed to feel that something had changed after Wang Feng went out for a while. However, he didn't ask any more questions. Instead, he looked at the map and thought deeply about it. After a few glances, Meng Fei returned to Wang Feng again. He looked up at Wang Feng and asked softly, "What is the main focus?" Wang Feng thought for a while and then said, "Humans and zombies. Since we are preparing for war now, materials and so on are not so important. As for mutant creatures, if they are small mutant creatures such as insects, due to their small body, the ability of a single entity is not strong, so no matter how large the number is, Apocalypse cannot absorb much life energy. The one that can provide Wang Feng with a large number of Apocalypse points is the zombie wave. Presumably, after the second drastic change, the zombie wave's strength should also continue to skyrocket, right? Therefore, to accelerate one's growth, the best choice is zombies. As for humans, since they can survive the second drastic change, it shows that they have a certain degree of strength. Even if they cannot be absorbed into their hope base, at least we should also remind them of the invasive creatures that will arrive in a month. That's why Wang Feng directly chose to focus on zombies and humans. After Meng Fei got the answer, he lowered his head to look at the map again. After calculating for a long time, he stretched out his hand, drew a circle on the map, and said, "This route is the one that takes care of the most survivors and zombies." Looking at the distance, it will take 12 or 3 days to complete it. With delays due to battles or other matters, it should be no problem to return within a month. Okay. Let's take this route. Wang Feng didn't waste a moment and made the decision immediately. Then he said to Lu Feng and others, you go prepare the car first. We will drive 2 hurricanes out. I will prepare the water and food. Others, it's up to you. I'll let Lazy Eye copy this map to the computer first. Everyone nodded in agreement and then walked out of the club. Wang Feng picked up the map and directly pulled Duan Lei into a room next to him. Then he quickly repeated what the old man said, and finally said, Liza, don't build the farm so far away. Try to shrink our territory as much as possible. Although the Black Dragon Bridge is a natural chasm, no one knows what those invasive creatures look like. Also, try it and see if you can compete with ours on the farm. Digging tunnels between Bishui communities. If the transfer can be completed from underground, it should be safer for us, and in this way, we can connect all our bases together, and we will basically become a whole. Duan Lei frowned after listening to Wang Feng's words. The tunnel is easy to say. Now that there are so many strong people like us, there is no problem in digging through the ground. However, there are many underground springs in Ganlin County. We need to find someone who is familiar with this place first. People can dig out the distribution of underground springs, and now that all kinds of creatures are mutating, the walls of this underground passage must be reinforced to ensure safety. You make the specific arrangements. I just provide an idea. Besides, Lazy Eye, do you think what this old man said is credible? Wang Feng threw his idea to Duan Lei and ignored it, but he asked an issue that he is more concerned about now. I think there is no need for him to lie to us. Besides, regardless of whether he lied to us or not, there is nothing wrong with you trying to improve your strength as much as possible. As for the Hope Base, I will consider changing some methods. Don't worry. In addition, before you leave, let's go to the reserve base first and see if there's any trouble on the way. If there is any, help me solve it. Duan Lei thought for a while and replied, and then told Wang Feng his previous thoughts, because he felt that if he didn't tell Wang Feng, the hands-off shopkeeper, he would slip away again, so he quickly asked him to go to the reserve base first. Clean it up. Since we only have so much time, we need to put more effort into defense. Not only the Black Dragon Bridge, but also the Bishui Garden here needs to re-establish a defense system. Since they are said to be alien creatures, it is estimated that a broken bridge will definitely not be able to stop them. At the same time, those heavy weapons will probably come in handy. Moreover, the tunnel Wang Feng mentioned made Duan Lei's eyes suddenly light up. The entire Bishui Garden is a bit too small as the final defense center, so at least try to use the entire Ganlin County as the defense center. One is that they originally built a wall around Ganlin County. Although the defense is not strong, it can be reinforced on the basis of this wall. Moreover, they only have 1 month left. How far can it be done? Duan Lei doesn't know now, so he can only take one step at a time. After Wang Feng and Duan Lei discussed it, they walked out together. Duan Lei directly handed the map in his hand to Shen Yishan and asked her to scan it into the computer so that the map could be viewed on any hurricane terminal. When Wang Feng walked out of the club, Lu Feng and the others had already driven 2 hurricanes over and were ready to set off. Lao Lu, you drive, I'll direct the direction from above. Let's go to the reserve base first, Wang Feng said to Lu Feng. Reserve base? Lu Feng was stunned, but without saying anything, he entered the hurricane directly and drove the hurricane out of the Blue Water Garden. Another hurricane, driven by Meng Fei, followed them closely. Although the thick fog has not dissipated and the visibility is quite low, because Wang Feng's sky eyes can see very far through the thick fog, their speed is not slow and they soon reach the foot of Heilong Mountain. Before entering the mountain, Wang Feng first looked around and found that there seemed to be nothing unusual, so he continued to direct the hurricane to move forward. Fortunately, because I have seen mutated trees before. Almost all the big trees in Ganlin County have been cut down. I am afraid that they will suddenly mutate and cause harm to ordinary survivors, and even the black dragons. The large vegetation on both sides of the mountain road leading to the reserve base has been basically destroyed. But even so, Wang Feng and the others encountered a little trouble. Several vine-like mutant plants suddenly emerged from the roadside and attacked them while they were traveling. However, because Wang Feng had been paying attention, the situation on the roadside, so when these vines just launched their attack, Wang Feng shouted, "Stop!" Afterwards, Wang Feng threw himself into the mountains on the roadside. Without being disturbed by the thick fog, Wang Feng easily found the roots of these vines. After jumping directly there, Wang Feng summoned Apocalypse and used all his strength to inserted the roots of the vines. He did not directly cut off the vines with the knife, but planned to see if these vines could also provide him with a large amount of Apocalypse points. There were 3 mutated vines in total that attacked Wang Feng. With the help of Apocalypse's ability, Wang Feng easily eliminated these 3 vines. However, the Apocalypse points he gained disappointed him. The 3 mutated vines, the total amount of plants is probably the harvest of a mutant zombie. It seems that plant life is indeed not as much as the life energy contained in the bodies of zombies or mutant beasts. In fact, plant life contains a lot of life energy. The life energy contained in any of these 3 mutant vines exceeds that of mutant zombies, and is almost comparable to the mutant zombie king. However, the life energy of plants, it is scattered in every cell of its body. Unlike zombies or mutant beasts, most of the life energy in the body is concentrated in a certain position of the body. Wang Feng just inserted Apocalypse into their roots. Although he killed them, the life energy there was only about 1/20th of the life energy in their bodies, which is why they appear so rare. Although the total amount is quite a lot, but because of the dispersion, Apocalypse has no way to absorb that life energy. Although the life energy in the thick fog is thinner than the life energy of these plants, this life energy is ownerless, so Tiankai can absorb it. Although these 3 mutant vines were killed by Wang Feng, but its vitality has not completely disappeared. This is the difference between animals and plants. Cut a branch from a tree and stick it in water. It can continue to live for a long time. However, once an animal suffers a fatal blow, its whole body functions will soon die. This is caused by different life forms. Characteristics determine it, and Wang Feng has no choice. Therefore, Wang Feng can only pray now, hoping that the invaders who are about to invade his planet will not be as difficult to deal with as plant life. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 366. After killing 3 plants and proving that killing mutant plants was of little significance to him, Wang Feng did not delay any longer and continued to jump on the hurricane to guide the direction of advance. At the same time, he carefully observed the surroundings to see if he could find some small mutant creatures such as birds or ants and bees. However, perhaps they had cleared the road too cleanly before. After killing the 3 mutant plants, until the gate of the reserve base, Wang Feng only killed 2 mutant trees, which were more than 100 meters away from the road they were traveling. After being discovered by Wang Feng, he ran over to kill them. One reason was that Wang Feng did not know whether these 2 trees would grow as big as the willow tree he raised and pose a threat to others. The second reason was that he wanted to try and see if the mutant plants of the tree class would have more gains. The result still disappointed him and he completely lost interest in the mutant life of plants. After confirming that there were basically no difficult mutant creatures on this road, Wang Feng and others did not enter the reserve base, because there was nothing to take, so they returned directly. When passing by the club, Wang Feng did not enter the club, but directly commanded the hurricane to pass through the door of the club. Because Lu Wanting was still in the club, and he was away this time, it was likely to be a month. Wang Feng did not want to experience that kind of farewell scene, and even if it was this month, he hoped that the base and their combat team would be safe, but what about after that? Wang Feng did not dare to think about it now. Since the old man said that the other party was very strong, then Wang Feng understood that those guys were at least at the level of the turtle he killed at the beginning, and they were not weak turtles. After talking with the old man, Wang Feng had a great sense of crisis. He now had only 1 month to strengthen himself. During this month, he had to work hard to break through to the 5th level creature, and also try his best to turn all the guardian warriors of the Hope Base into awakeners. After a month, if they could quickly eliminate all the alien creatures that should be considered as the advanced troops, they could buy themselves a year. According to this calculation, this month is a crucial month for them, whether it is for him, for the Hope Base, or even for all mankind, it is a crucial month. He must not waste any time, especially now Wang Feng has no idea how to advance to the next level. The 2 hurricanes were speeding on the road. Now Wang Feng was sitting in the driver's seat, replacing Lu Feng, because his field of vision was much better than Lu Feng and the others, and the thick fog basically had no effect on him. Now he didn't need to see the situation on both sides of the road. In order to save time, Wang Feng took over the driving of the hurricane. After leaving the Black Dragon Bridge, Wang Feng and his team had 2 roads. One was straight north, which was the direction of the Apostle Peter's military camp, and the other was east, which was the direction of Haki City and Juking City. The line drawn by Mengfei was always north. Before reaching the Apostle Peter's military camp, Hurricane turned to a road on the left. There were many towns and villages on this road. According to the old man's map, it seemed that there were several towns where zombies gathered, but because it was on the map, the scale could not be seen at all. Perhaps this time the old man drew the map in a hurry, so there were no numbers marked, nor the previous marks that represented the level of biological standards that could be reached before going forward, only the type of location. It seems that this old man was in a hurry when drawing this map. It's not as detailed as last time. Lu Feng smiled as he looked at the map displayed on the screen. At this time, they already knew that the person who gave Wang Feng the map was the old man who saved Wang Feng last time, and they also knew that their planet would be invaded by aliens in a month. Although Wang Feng didn't want to tell them at first, he was a little impatient because he knew about it himself. After all, he was still young. Even if he became the leader of a base with a population of 1 million, he would not be so calm. People's temperament can only become mature after years and experiences. Wang Feng's abnormality naturally attracted the attention of others, especially Lu Feng, who had been with him the longest. However, Wang Feng didn't take the initiative to say it, so they didn't feel embarrassed to ask. On the contrary, Wang Feng, 1, was uncomfortable with this matter in his heart, and the other was that he felt that it was not good to let these guys guess blindly. So he just spilled the beans and told everything in detail. However, after he finished, Wang Feng found that, just as he guessed, he was the only one in the entire combat team who was anxious. These heartless guys didn't take it to heart at all, as if what came a month later was not some unknown creature, but Santa Claus. That is, Tang Haoshan gave face and asked Wang Feng, "What are those guys?" Wang Feng, "I don't know." Tang Haoshan, "Are they powerful?" Wang Feng, "Powerful." Tang Haoshan, "Can we beat them?" Wang Feng, "I don't know." Tang Haoshan, "Oh." Then, there was nothing else, because then there was Lu Feng's complaint that the old man's map was a bit rough, as if they had discussed so much about the alien invasion and that was enough. Well, there are some, but it's good to see some. At least, we can know where there are zombies and survivors. Otherwise, where can we find a place in such a thick fog? It's quite convenient. Tang Haoshan defended the old man seriously. I think so too. Although there are no previous warnings, Maybe the old man thinks that we are strong enough and can walk sideways on this planet, so there are no warnings. Gui Wuovong is a bit self-inflated after becoming an awakener. Well, Gitu makes sense, Mars nodded. Can you change your name? Gui Wuovong was depressed when he heard this. Gitu. The key is your name. How did you come up with it? It's awkward no matter how you call it, Tang Haoshan interrupted. Lao Gui. This is the same species as Gui Tou, and it's still not out of the circle. How about calling him Wu Wang? It sounds more friendly. Lu Feng was giving random ideas. Come on. Wu Wang. Call him slowly, it sounds like a dog barking. I won't call him that. Tang Haoshan curled his lips and said very unceremoniously. Stop, stop, stop. Gui Wu Wang suddenly felt that it was not a wise idea to mention his name to them, so he quickly stopped, and he found that Wang Feng seemed to be in a bad mood at the moment. They were so noisy, and Wang Feng didn't even get involved. In fact, Lu Feng and the others did this on purpose. They knew that Wang Feng had too much on his shoulders, especially when he knew that a strong enemy was about to attack. He must be under a lot of pressure, but they had no way to enlighten him. People are like this. The more you have, the more you worry. This is a dead cycle, and there is almost no solution. When have you ever seen a beggar worrying about someone robbing him or defrauding him all day? He just had a steamed bun. Most likely he had already taken a bite of it. If it was an apple, it might be worth some money. Who would go to the trouble to cheat him? The money he got from robbing him was not enough to buy a knife. But it was hard for them to persuade Wang Feng about this kind of thing, because they did not bear such a big responsibility. The more they persuaded him, the more confused they would be. Just like Lu Feng, he did not need to worry about this news at all. What's wrong with aliens coming? Just do it. If you can do it, you are awesome. If you can't do it, you are stupid. Anyway, I only have this one life. At worst, you can take it away. I will still be a supporting role in the next book. The same is true for Tang Haoshan and Gui Wuovong. Although they have the same goal as Wang Feng, they all say that they want to continue human civilization, but they regard this matter as their ideal, while Wang Feng regards this matter as his responsibility. Wang Feng believes in one thing, that is, the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. I got the revelation, maybe this is the arrangement of fate. I have the ability that others don't have, so I also shoulder more responsibilities. Plus Wang Feng and Duan Lei have always said so and done so, so Wang Feng gradually took on this responsibility completely. If mankind eventually perishes, for Wang Feng, it means that he has not fulfilled his responsibility, or he will think that his mission has not been completed. For Tang Haoshan and others, even Duan Lei, they can only be regarded as their ideals have not been achieved, and at most they may leave regrets when they die. Because the definition of ideals and responsibilities is different, everyone has ideals, and even many, but only a small part of them can be realized, especially those ideals that sound very grand and make people excited when they think of them. For example, I want to dominate the universe. It sounds beautiful, but the probability of realization? Go to bed. You have read too many novels, young man. This is called fantasy, not ideal. The difference between ideals and fantasies is, I want to make a lot of money, this can be considered an ideal. I want to make enough money, this humming belongs to fantasy. Wang Feng is just having too many things happen to him now. He just experienced the second drastic change and hasn't adapted to it yet, but he got the news that alien creatures are about to invade. In addition, the old man always looks for him specifically, as if he is really the savior. This makes Wang Feng a little obsessed. However, if he knew that this so-called second drastic change was directed by this old man himself, how would he feel? Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 367. The old man didn't know what Wang Feng would think at that time. At this time, the Kali tribe's spaceship had started and slowly left the planet where Wang Feng and his friends were. Looking at the beautiful blue planet that was getting smaller and smaller outside the porthole, the Kali tribe leader sighed softly. He didn't know whether the Kali tribe could continue on this beautiful planet in the future. He had done everything he should do. Now, he no longer had the ability to participate in his own plan and could only wait for the result. At this time, the Kali tribe leader was like a gambler who had already placed his bets and was waiting for the moment to open the dice cup. Whether it was success or failure, it would be revealed at that moment. Because they were in outer space, and their space battleships were huge, there was no place for them to hide in the nearby star field. Although the remaining energy in their space battleships should be enough to fight with the vanguard of the Devourer and should be able to annihilate them all, what about the follow-up troops? Instead of taking action now, it is better to let the vanguard of the Devourer enter this planet. Although the real target of the Devourer search team should be the last surviving force of their Kali tribe, the Devourer will never let go of the planet with life. These demons that roam the universe will never let go of any life they find. God knows how many planets with civilizations these guys have destroyed, and no one knows their origins. Their Kali tribe has fought with the Devourer for many years, but the Devourer's army is always endless. If you don't kill their mother queen, you can't really eliminate the Devourer. The Kali tribe used to be extremely powerful, with thousands of spaceships of the same level as the space battleships they are driving now, and countless population and resources. In the most glorious era of the Kali tribe, they once ruled half of the star field and had more than a dozen habitable planets. It was because of the arrival of the Devourer that their resources and population were exhausted bit by bit, forcing them into a desperate situation. After fleeing for so long, it is finally time to reveal the winner. The leader of the Kali tribe now only hates that the method he thought of was too late, so that he can only rely on the natives of this planet with low life to complete his plan. When he came to this planet, there was not even a creature above level 3 on this planet. If he hadn't taken action, when the Devourer came, they would not even be able to resist the vanguard troops, and they would be killed directly, and the whole planet would become desolate, because every planet visited by the Devourer would be devoured of all life energy. When they leave the planet will become a dead star, and it will never be able to breed any life in the future. Now Wang Feng doesn't know the horror of the Devourer, so this is probably his luck. Now he has come to the first target of this trip, a small town with no name marked on the map and no signs outside the town, but Wang Feng doesn't care. He doesn't need to know the name of the town, he just needs to know whether there are zombies here. The situation in the town did not disappoint Wang Feng. Although the town was not big, there were quite a few zombies. Perhaps because of the thick fog, the levels of these zombies also satisfied Wang Feng. The worst ones were enhanced zombies, mutant zombie kings, and even an alienated zombie. Wang Feng saw one. Through the thick fog, Wang Feng could clearly see that the number of zombies in the town was probably more than 100,000, which was basically equivalent to the size of the zombies led by the mutant zombie he killed for the first time. However, the strength of this zombie group far exceeded that of the zombie group controlled by the mutant zombie at that time. Of course, Wang Feng and his team are no longer the enhancers and evolvers of the past. Compared with that time, their strength has increased by more than 100 times. Let's get started. Without saying anything, Wang Feng drove the hurricane directly into the town. However, because the hurricane made no sound and the carriage was closed, there was no smell, so not many zombies were alarmed. However, Wang Feng did not intend to hide his whereabouts at this time. He had seen clearly that there was only one mutant zombie outside. For these combat team members who had all become awakened, the strength of the zombies here was not enough. After opening the car door, Wang Feng rushed out first. He did not activate any superpowers. He relied entirely on the power of his body to wield apocalypse and killed into the zombie group, all the way to the mutant zombie. This mutant zombie was in the form of a tyrant, and belonged to the type that Wang Feng knew well, so he was naturally more fearless. Seeing that Wang Feng had already taken action, Lu Feng and his team all got out of the car and rushed into the zombies. Although the fog was still thick, the visual distance of more than 10 meters should be enough for killing zombies. In addition, they had just become awakened and were just about to test their combat effectiveness, so they rushed into the town excitedly. Since there were only so many zombies in this town, they were all gathered in the center of the town by the alienated zombie, which was convenient for Wang Feng and his team. Since Sang Xiao did not come with them, there were only 17 people in the current combat team. Now all these 17 people have joined the battle. In the zombie group, it is like a tiger entering a flock of sheep. The three little ones were not here because they were ordered by Wang Feng to complete their awakening. When the leader of the Kali tribe left, the three little guys had no worries and went to find a place to awaken. In fact, the three little ones were much more powerful than they are now. Now they use potions, which is equivalent to restoring their strength. Even the yellow and blue helmets were defeated by them, so their awakening time will not take long at all. However, they dare not come to Wang Feng in advance, because that might expose their identities. The mutant zombies seemed to feel bad, because the mutant zombies and mutant zombie kings it sent out seemed to be vulnerable in front of these invaders. They were killed almost at the first sight, so they wanted to retreat. Wang Feng aside, after Apocalypse advanced again, its sharpness increased again. Now, basically, there should be no one in this world who can stop Apocalypse's sharpness. Lu Feng and the others all know the weaknesses of these mutant zombies and mutant corpse kings, especially the big knife in Tang Haoshen's hand, which was the trophy he got after killing the mutant corpse king in Juking City. This bone blade was able to withstand Apocalypse's hard chop and only broke a little gap. Now it is as easy to chop the head of the mutant corpse king as cutting vegetables, which makes Tang Haoshen very proud. At the beginning, when this bone blade was just formed in the hands of the mutant corpse king, Tang Haoshen took a fancy to this weapon. However, because Lu Feng activated his supernatural power and sacrificed his life to save Wang Feng, and blocked this bone blade with his body, Tang Haoshen didn't feel embarrassed to compete with Lu Feng, because he and Lu Feng both like to use big knives. Before, Lu Feng had indeed been very popular with this broadsword, but after becoming an awakener, his awakened attribute was gold, and any weapon in his hand would be extremely sharp. He had tried to stab this bone blade with an ordinary bayonet, and he easily pierced a hole at the end of the handle of this bone blade. In this way, Lu Feng naturally gave this bone knife to Tang Haoshen, because he didn't need to occupy such a good weapon, and it would be better to increase the combat power of his people. Of course, Tang Haoshen would not refuse, and happily put a thin iron chain through the hole pierced by Lu Feng's bayonet, and then made a scabbard with the skin of a mutant beast and carried it on his back. It looked a bit like a broadsword team, but in this world, there were no devils for him to chop. Wang Feng had always been at the forefront, so he naturally saw the alienated zombie that wanted to escape. Because this zombie was in the form of a tyrant, it was more conspicuous among the zombies. In addition, Wang Feng's vision was not affected by the thick fog, so it seemed that his plan to escape was a bit unfeasible. However, just when Wang Feng was about to launch the gust of wind and speed up to rush towards the alienated zombie that had already turned around and fled suddenly turned around and rushed towards Wang Feng. Wang Feng was stunned and stopped launching the gust of wind. While staring at the alienated zombie, he killed the zombies that stood between them and approached it. Wang Feng did not activate his own superpowers, but it did not mean that others would not activate their own superpowers. Although they might have to fight for a month in a row, they must also be familiar with the use of their awakened superpowers in the battle. The small group of zombies in front of them could just be used as a training object for them. However, the 17 of them were all awakened. If they were to change to another group, they would not dare to confront the zombies with a strength of less than 20 people, and they were still training soldiers. This was simply courting death. At this time, Wang Feng and the alienated zombie had already collided with each other, but the strange thing was that the alienated zombie did not attack Wang Feng, but directly lowered its head and sent its head in front of Wang Feng. What was even more exaggerated was that it actually pointed at its head with its finger, as if telling Wang Feng, "Come. Chop here. If I frown, I won't be called a tyrant." This scene made Wang Feng stunned. What was going on? Did he encounter an alienated zombie who was determined to die today? Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 368. Looking at this zombie who wanted to die, Wang Feng did not dare to immediately chop off the apocalypse in his hand, because he didn't know what the situation was. Could this really be a zombie that actively wanted to die? "Brother Feng. Kill him," Tehaizi shouted eagerly on the side. Wang Feng suddenly understood that the situation in front of him was that Tessis had activated his skills and controlled the alienated zombie, so this alienated zombie behaved like this. They came to him who wanted to die. Wang Feng knew that Take's superpower could only last for 100 seconds, so he swung his sword to kill the alienated zombie. However, after thinking for a moment, he directly waved Apocalypse and cut the alienated zombie into 2 pieces, and then the sword flashed. In a flash, he removed the arms of the alienated zombie again, and then with a flick of his body, he entered the group of zombies in front of him. Tessis felt so strange, but Apollo suddenly appeared beside her and whispered, "You must keep this big one, otherwise those mutant zombie kings will escape." Only then did Tessis understand and couldn't help but glance at Apollo. It turned out that this guy was quite smart. Although Wang Feng was very strange about the alienated zombie seeking death at first, after being reminded by Tessis, he understood that the zombie was controlled by Tessis' superpower, but he did not choose to kill it. The reason for this alienated zombie is the same as Apollo said, it is not to let those mutated zombie kings escape. The mutant zombie kings are now under the control of the alienated zombies, so they will attack them desperately. Especially after the alienated zombies were seriously injured by Wang Feng and lost the ability to move, the mutant zombie kings acted like crazy, rushing towards the alienated zombies desperately, thinking to rescue it. And Wang Feng stayed around the alienated zombies, constantly killing the mutant zombie kings and mutant zombies that rushed up. The powerful defenses of these zombies were in vain under the advanced apocalypse. No zombie could he survived a knife attack from Wang Feng without dying. In addition to Wang Feng, everyone in the Hope base has also shown off their skills, especially Lu Feng. His metal powers are really shining in this situation. Have you ever seen Magneto? This guy is basically him now. Lu Feng's power is to control metal, and now there are countless metal thorns floating around his body. The sharpness of these metal thorns is quite high. At least, even the mutant zombie king cannot resist the attack of these metal thorns. Therefore, the zombies around Lu Feng are like wheat, falling in pieces. Of course, maintaining this efficiency, for Lu Feng, the physical exertion is also very large, because now he is basically using all his strength, and he is in his strongest state. Lu Feng can only last in this state for 10 minutes at most, and then he will stop due to exhaustion of physical strength. However, now Lu Feng wants to know what his peak state is like, so he doesn't care about the exhaustion of physical strength. Compared with Lu Feng, Tang Haoshan is a little depressed. His attribute is fire, and his superpower is also in the fire domain, which is similar to Wang Feng's ice domain. The problem is that even if the enhanced zombies enter his fire domain, he would be burned to death after holding on for a few minutes. His efficiency in killing zombies was far inferior to that of Lu Feng, or even Wang Feng. Because Wang Feng's ice domain can at least slow down the zombies. After they enter his domain, their movements will become quite sluggish, and Wang Feng can easily kill them. Tang Haoshan tried to condense his flames into a fire blade in an attempt to kill the zombies. However, the effect of the fire blade was unsatisfactory and could not kill with one hit. It seemed that his superpower was more suitable for dealing with mutations. Mutated creatures such as swarms of bees. The boy Martian felt very happy, because his hurricane field was much more lethal than Tang Haoshan's fire field. Countless wind blades condensed around his body. The sharpness of these wind blades was inferior to Lu Feng's metal. The thorns were stabbed, but the speed was much faster than Lu Feng's metal thorns. Under their rapid rotation, the zombies that entered the hurricane field of Mars were all stripped of their flesh and blood and turned into skeleton-like existences. Mars didn't have any adverse reaction to these skeletons. Instead, he seemed to think that these zombies were more beautiful after removing their flesh and blood, so he began to shout excitedly, and continued to kill these zombies with the thorns in his hands. Skeleton zombie. Hao Shui on the side couldn't understand Martian's excitement, because this guy's field was a complete waste. What's the difference between turning these zombies into skeletons and then killing them, or killing them directly? Is it just to look good? Hao Shui expressed his doubts about Mars aesthetics. Hao Shui did not release his own domain, because he is an awakened earth element, and it is estimated that it will not be much better if he creates a sandstorm around him. However, after becoming an awakened person, Hao Shui's power has increased a lot, and the defense has also become extremely powerful. Now he has simply given up using the military spurs and relies on his own physical strength to run rampant among the corpses. Even Hao Shui did not resist the attack of the mutant zombie, because the claws of the mutant zombie could only scratch a few white marks on Hao Shui's body. Now Hao Shui's body strength has completely reached the level of a human shield standards, and his attack power is also very powerful. It can be said that Hao Shui has even surpassed Lu Feng and Tang Haoshan, two strong men known for their strength, in terms of strength. Because the earth attribute does not have any domain ability, it focuses on strengthening the body. For Hao Shui, his domain is actually the strengthening of his own defense and strength. Although he kills zombies one by one with a punch, it is much slower than Lu Feng and Huo Xing, but he does not have to worry about his own safety. It is a way of fighting a war of attrition. The other members of the combat team are also killing recklessly. Some people's attributes and abilities are suitable for killing zombies, while some people's attributes and abilities are not suitable for fighting zombies. However, no matter how efficient the killing is, they are trying to familiarize themselves with their abilities and want to master the best way to use their abilities as soon as possible. The 100,000 corpse tide, under the full attack of these 17 awakeners, only lasted for more than an hour before being wiped out. When Wang Feng killed the last mutant zombie in front of him, he looked around and found that he actually had a dream-like feeling. The corpse tide that once chased tens of thousands of them and fled in embarrassment now disappeared in his combat team of more than a dozen people. Tang Haoshan and others had the same feeling as Wang Feng. This was a zombie tide of more than 100,000 people. At the beginning, this zombie tide led by only one mutant zombie could make them flee desperately like stray dogs. Now, this zombie group led by alienated zombies, with dozens of mutant zombie kings and nearly 1,000 mutant zombies, was killed by a dozen of them in more than an hour. 100,000. On average, there are about 6,000 zombies per person, including mutant zombies and mutant zombie kings. What's more, there are basically no lowest level zombies such as wanderers in this zombie group. Almost all of them are enhanced zombies or above. We did this. After destroying this zombie group, Huaxing looked at the surrounding scene in a daze and asked with a little disbelief. Now there is no zombie left standing in this town. The only ones standing are the members of their combat team, 17 people, who are watching each other from a distance. Except for Wang Feng, who is still wandering around the battlefield, absorbing the life energy from the zombies, the others all stay where they are and keep scanning their surroundings. That's right. We did it. It seems that we have become quite awesome, Li Fei also said while looking at the scene around him. You are not awesome yet, but you are very good at pretending Mars spared no effort to attack Li Fei. What do you mean? Li Fei stared at Mars, as if he was going to tear each other apart if he disagreed with him. Stop arguing. Clean up the battlefield and get ready to go again, Wang Feng's voice came. He has now absorbed all the life energy from the zombies and has gained more apocalypse points to make dozens of awakening potions. However, compared with the number of guardian warriors who have exceeded 7,000, this number seems a bit pitiful. After hearing Wang Feng's words, Huaxing and the others shut up and began to prepare to clean up the battlefield. The so-called cleaning up the battlefield means that they now need to move all the corpses of the zombies to the rooms in the town and hide them as much as possible to avoid being used as food by other mutant creatures. Now the Hope Base has fully realized the importance of the corpses of zombies, so when Wang Feng came out, he had already informed Duan Lei of his route. Duan Lei will send a team of guards to receive their spoils of war, including the corpses of zombies and all usable materials, while building the base. However, Wang Feng and his team naturally could not stay here to wait for the arrival of the guardian warriors who came to receive the spoils. They were in a hurry and could not waste any time. Therefore, after throwing all the corpses of the zombies into the surrounding buildings, Wang Feng and his team stepped onto the hurricane and continued to move towards the next target. Since the previous targets were small towns or villages, Wang Feng and his team swept very quickly. Moreover, as they became more and more adapted to their own abilities, the awakened members of these combat teams were more adept at using their own abilities and were more efficient in killing zombies. At this time, Wang Feng and his team had arrived at the entrance of the 15th town they had arrived at since this departure. A plaque with the words, Zhuangqiao Town welcomes you, was swaying in the wind, greeting them in its own unique way. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 369. After parking the car at the door, Wang Feng hesitated for a moment, because this place was marked in red on the map, indicating that the creatures occupying this place were not zombies, but mutants. Wang Feng was not interested in mutants. If it was a large mutant, it would be fine, and Apocalypse could still absorb a lot of life energy. If it was a small mutant, Apocalypse would basically not gain anything, which was equivalent to a waste of time. But this point was on their route. If it was not cleared, perhaps the subsequent guard corps could kill the creatures occupying this place, but there would be a high probability of casualties, so Wang Feng and his team had to clear all obstacles on the road and open the way for the guard corps behind. When Wang Feng drove the hurricane into the Brick Bridge town, he found that the town was simply a ghost town. The dilapidated buildings swayed in the wind and made a creaking sound. Apart from that, there was no sign of any life activity. Wang Feng drove the car to the center of the town, then walked out of the hurricane, jumped onto the top floor of a high-rise building, and looked around with the sky eye, but still did not find any signs of the existence of any creatures, not even a zombie. Damn! What's going on? Tang Haoshan, carrying his big knife, looked around after walking out of the hurricane, and shouted, "Has anyone been here?" The other members of the combat team also walked out of the hurricane and came to the town to check around, but they didn't find anything. Madman! There seems to be nothing here? Why don't we go directly to the next place? Gui Weivong walked out of a building and shouted. After clearing more than a dozen villages and towns, the members of these combat teams now seem to be less afraid of this crisis-ridden apocalypse. Wang Feng also jumped down from the building, looked around vigilantly, and said, "It's not that there is nothing, but those guys refuse to come out." Although he didn't see anything, Wang Feng knew that there were a large number of mutant creatures in this town, because although they were hidden, they had no way to escape the induction of Apocalypse. Apocalypse had told Wang Feng that there were a large number of unknown creatures hidden around them. Wang Feng looked at the sky and confirmed that there were no creatures in the air. Then, the hiding place of these creatures could only be underground. He took out a high explosive grenade and pulled the fuse. Then, Wang Feng raised his hand and threw the grenade into a house next to him. This was just an ordinary residential building. There should be no materials worth recycling in it. Bang! After a loud noise, the town suddenly became lively. Tens of thousands of mutant rats poured out of the houses like a tide and surrounded Wang Feng and his team in an instant. However, these rats did not attack directly, but crouched 5 meters away from the crowd, staring at them with their round eyes. Are these, really rats? Tang Haoshan stared at these rats whose bodies were even thicker than cats and said, damn. Are they fed with pig feed? I guess they are zombies, Lu Feng said as he looked at these rats, swallowing his saliva at the same time. These guys look delicious. Long before the end of the world, Lu Feng had eaten rats. At that time, as long as he could fill his stomach, Lu Feng generally had no restrictions on food, as long as it was edible. You are so disgusting. If you eat this, don't touch me at night, Qin Yu frowned and said, but then she realized that she seemed to have said something wrong, because everyone at this moment looked at her, and their eyes were quite, They are all old drivers. Wow. I am Zhang Yide from Yan. Who wants to fight me for 300 rounds? Luo Kaying suddenly became excited and shouted at the rats, you don't want to fight, and you don't want to retreat. Why? Are you sick? Gui Wuivong said frankly and bluntly, eunuch. When did you change your gender? What's the point of yelling at a group of rats? Isn't it better to just kill them? You are too uneducated, Kitu. Huaxing immediately stood up and righteously corrected Gui Wuivong, Lao Luo is talking about Yan people, Yan in the swallow, which means bird people. Isn't he a eunuch? Yes, Luo Kaying nodded desperately, old turtle, if you are uneducated, don't talk nonsense and make the younger generation laugh at you. Then, Luo Kaying realized that something seemed to be wrong, and stared at Mars and cursed, little bastard. Who the hell did you say is a birdman? Ha 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 ha. Come back. Your reaction is really slow. Hao Shui laughed happily, it's still yes, birdmen are much more advanced than eunuchs. Of course. At least birdmen have birds, eunuchs definitely don't, Li Fei said seriously. Just when these people were fiercely discussing which is better between birdmen and eunuchs, on a building, a thin figure was looking at them coldly, and Wang Feng seemed to have noticed it and looked at this figure. The two people's eyes collided and looked at each other silently. Wang Feng slowly raised his arm and gently hooked his index finger at the figure. The figure seemed to be angered by Wang Feng's action, and jumped down, then walked towards Wang Feng and his group. When this person walked towards Wang Feng and his group, the mutant rats on his path moved aside and made a path for him. Are these rats your men? Wang Feng asked as he looked at the mysterious man who came to him. This man was about 20 years old, with a face of oval seeds, small eyes, and a small haircut. He didn't know that in this apocalyptic world, where did this guy find the barber shop? That's right. Seeing that you are human beings, I didn't want to touch you at first, but since you took the initiative to provoke me, you can't blame me. The guy who can control the mouse said slowly, leave a car and you can leave, I won't embarrass you. Hey, how do you control these mice? Can you teach me? Zhang Xiu looked at this mysterious man with stars in his eyes and asked. This violent girl seems to have some strange hobbies. She seems to be interested in this guy who can control mice. There is some yearning. Okay. Just be my woman, the guy with small eyes looked at Zhang Xiu and said. Your mother. As soon as this guy's words came out, Su Mo strongly protested and swore directly at him, are you looking for death? Don't think that raising a bunch of rats is a big deal. It only takes a minute to destroy you. Su Mo's words changed everyone's impression of him. Generally speaking, Su Mo showed a very humble attitude and spoke politely. Unexpectedly, this guy could also use swear words. Even Wang Feng cast a surprised look at Su Mo and expressed surprise at his performance. However, one person among the crowd ignored Su Mo and walked towards the man who could control the mouse. Lin Li? You're not humming dead. This person was Huang Hua. At this time, Huang Hua was looking at the weird man who controlled the mouse with excitement, and walked quickly towards him. Wang Feng frowned, but when he saw that when Huang Hua walked towards the group of rats, the rats automatically gave way to him and did not take action. It seemed that Huang Hua and the person who controlled the rats should know each other. Huang Hua? Holy shit! Are you still alive? The rat-controlling weirdo stared at Huang Hua, with a look of surprise in his small eyes. Huang Hua strode up to the rat-controlling weirdo and gave the guy a bear hug. Then he took a step back, looked at the rat-controlling weirdo and said with a smile, "Damn it. I kept calling you a mouse, but I didn't expect you to actually do it. Got mixed up with the rats. Go away." "What do you mean? I'm hanging out with rats? These rats are all my soldiers. I'm the Rat King now, okay? From now on, you have to call me Rat King Lin Li," the rat-controlling weirdo said with his eyes angrily, but the eyes are naturally small. Even if they are angry, they are not much bigger than a soybean. "Are you together? Damn it. Fortunately, I didn't let these little guys do it directly. Otherwise, before I saw you, you would have been eaten by my subordinates." The rat-controlling weirdo looked at him with disdain. He looked at Wang Feng and others, then patted Huang Hua on the shoulder. "Hum with me from now on. I will ensure that you don't have to worry about food and drink. You damn bitch, get out of here. Is there anything else to eat besides rats?" Huang Hua shook off Lin Li's hand, his eyes full of contempt. "You'd better come and hang out with me. You don't have to worry about eating and drinking. And beauties. TCH. What's wrong with eating rats? Rats are also delicious." Lin Li stretched out his hand nonchalantly, and a rat ran into his hand consciously. Then, Lin Li skillfully twisted off the rat's arm. Then he directly tore off the mouse's skin, put it into his mouth and chewed it with blood. "Holy shit. Can't you, damn, bake this thing before eating it?" Huang Hua frowned and said, "This is a bit too disgusting." "Humph. I've eaten even more disgusting things than this. What does this mean?" Lin Li threw away the rat carcass he had eaten a few mouthfuls of without any intention of wasting food, and said with his mouth wide open, "How is it? Come and hang out with me. Let them keep a car. For your sake, I won't bother with them blowing up my house." You, uncle?" Huang Hua was furious. "You had this condition before, right? What do you mean looking at my face? And, do you really think that these rats can do anything to us? Killing them is not good for us. It's just a matter of minutes." "How many minutes? Damn. I want to give it a try." Lin Li looked unconvinced, then whistled, and all the rats immediately started to move. "Xiaolin! Stop it!" At this moment, a loud shout came, and then, a figure swept into the field and stood in front of Wang Feng. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 370. How dare that idiot control me? Lin Li was furious and yelled, but when he saw the man standing in front of Wang Feng, his expression froze and he said hesitantly, It's, Brother Jian." Wang Feng was also a little surprised to see the person in front of him, because this guy turned out to be his old acquaintance, Qiu Jian. At the beginning, in Lu Wanting's camp, Qiu Jian personally killed his girlfriend who was abused in every way. After accepting Wang Feng's evolution potion, he disappeared from then on. Unexpectedly, he met him here. Qiu Jian. Wang Feng looked at Qiu Jian and found that this guy had also become an awakener. He couldn't help but feel a little surprised. However, looking at Qiu Jian's eyes looking at him, Wang Feng smiled gently. Because Qiu Jian looked at him with eyes full of gratitude and admiration, it seemed to indicate that Qiu Jian did not appear in front of him as an enemy. Brother Feng. Long time no see, Qiu Jian looked at Wang Feng with a somewhat excited expression. In fact, he was older than Wang Feng, but out of respect, he still called Wang Feng Brother Feng. Qiu Jian, you should call me crazy. It seems that you have been doing well recently, Wang Feng nodded to Qiu Jian and said softly. Thanks to the potion you gave me, Qiu Jian did not hide anything and told his experience after leaving Wang Feng. It turned out that after Wang Feng left, Qiu Jian used the evolution potion in that camp. Then, he went to the warehouse again, looked at the scum who were still lingering, and then locked the warehouse again and left the camp. Since he was already an evolver, Qiu Jian came to this town smoothly and met Lin Li. After becoming an enhancer, Lin Li had the ability to control rats, but at first he could only control about 100 rats. As his strength increased, he could control more and more rats. In the end, he cleared the zombies in the town and occupied the town. Since he was alone, the supplies in the town were enough for him to squander, and there were rats to eat, so in this doomsday, Lin Li was considered to live a relatively comfortable life. When Qiu Jian came here, he found that the rats here were relatively fat, so he killed a few rats and had a conflict with Lin Li. However, Qiu Jian, who was already an evolver at the time, was not afraid of those rats at all, and soon found Lin Li's location and controlled Lin Li. Lin Li, whose life was threatened, had to accept his fate and became Qiu Jian's subordinate from then on. After the two of them cleared out the surroundings of the town, Qiu Jian was unwilling to be lonely, so he left the town to look for zombies to kill, to strengthen his strength, and also saved some survivors' camps. Now Qiu Jian is also a top figure in the survivors' camps around here, and because he killed enough zombies, he unexpectedly became an awakener. Because Wang Feng told Qiu Jian at that time that he would come back to find him when he found a goal to survive. Although Qiu Jian killed countless people and saved many people during this period, and his own strength increased rapidly, Qiu Jian did not seem to find his goal to survive, so he kept hesitating and did not go to the Hope Base to find Wang Feng. Unexpectedly, they met unexpectedly in this small town. Looking at Wang Feng and the people behind him, Qiu Jian sighed in his heart. He originally thought that he had accidentally broken through the level of the evolver because of chance. He should be very strong and might be able to suppress Wang Feng. In his experience during this period, he really had not seen a survivor stronger than himself, and he had not even met anyone who could stand shoulder to shoulder with him. When the second upheaval came, Qiu Jian was in a camp. After discovering the thick fog, he was more worried about his little brother, so he rushed back. Unexpectedly, he met Wang Feng. When he saw that Lin Li seemed to want to attack Wang Feng and others, he hurriedly showed up and stopped Lin Li. Lin Li did not dare to disobey Qiu Jian's order, not because of fear, but because of respect. In fact, when Lin Li was defeated by Qiu Jian and was willing to become his little brother, Qiu Jian helped Lin Li a lot. Originally, Lin Li just planned to occupy this town and then eat and wait for death here. At that time, he was just a third-level enhancer. After becoming Qiu Jian's younger brother, Qiu Jian dragged Lin Li to almost all the places near the town, not only expanding the size of his rat army a lot, but also letting him absorb the strengthening fluid in the bodies of the 2 mutant zombie kings and hundreds of mutant zombies he killed, so that he successfully became a second-level evolver. It was because Qiu Jian did not regard Lin Li as a younger brother, but as his friend, that Lin Li's view of Qiu Jian changed from hostility at first to respect now. Now seeing that the person in front of him was Qiu Jian's old friend, and Qiu Jian seemed to respect this little guy very much, Lin Li did not dare to move immediately. Qiu Jian briefly recounted his experience after leaving, and then stared at Wang Feng blankly, as if he didn't know how to start. He wanted to return to the Hope Base, especially after experiencing the second upheaval. In this area, Qiu Jian met the survivors of 4 camps, and after the upheaval, he saved 2 of the camps, so that the survivors there were not killed by the mutant creatures. Qiu Jian became an awakener before the second upheaval. In terms of time, he became an awakener more than a week earlier than Wang Feng. Qiu Jian's attribute is a very rare destructive attribute. After the domain is displayed, any life form in his domain will be directly destroyed and turned into nothingness. Moreover, his destructive power can also be attached to weapons, making the weapons have the effect of breaking defense. Because of this, even if he does not know the weaknesses of the mutant zombies and the mutant corpse king, Qiu Jian can successfully kill them and win. However, the increase in strength did not let Qiu Jian find his life goal. Instead, he became more confused. After killing his girlfriend with his own hands, Qiu Jian has been looking for his belief in survival, but he has never found it. Even the 4 camps he saved hoped that he could stay and were willing to obey his command, but Qiu Jian refused all of them. At the beginning, he also participated in the Hope Conference at the Hope Base, but he did not feel that he had the responsibility to save all humans. He saved these 4 camps because he just happened to catch up and he had the ability to save them, so he took action directly. However, after saving these people, he did not seem to have any sense of accomplishment in his heart, nor did he have any sense of responsibility for these people. For Qiu Jian, whether these people died or lived had nothing to do with him, even if they were very grateful to him and everyone respectfully called him Brother Jian. Because Qiu Jian's earliest camp still made Qiu Jian feel scared. He was afraid and afraid. What if these people were just like the guys in the first camp, just valuing their own strength, and what they said was to flatter themselves, but actually regarded themselves as idiots in their hearts? Qiu Jian's heart was actually very weak and closed, especially after experiencing the incident with his girlfriend. Qiu Jian closed all his emotions. He was not good at distinguishing, and did not know who was really good to him and who was false. In Qiu Jian's heart, the only person he could trust was Wang Feng. Because when he left, Wang Feng gave him an evolution potion. After using this potion, Qiu Jian felt the growth of his strength and knew that he had become an enhancer. At this time, he had left Wang Feng. It can be said that he had no help to Wang Feng at all, but Wang Feng was still willing to give him such a precious potion. Although Wang Feng said that he gave him this potion to fulfill his promise, in Qiu Jian's heart, Wang Feng's actions had won his recognition. After this period of wandering, Qiu Jian was a little exhausted. Although he was very popular in those 4 camps, he even felt that when he was in those 4 camps, he was not as happy as he was with Lin Li. It's not that Qiu Jian and Lin Li have any homosexuality, but because Lin Li seems to have been with rats for a long time, so his personality is like that of a rat. He doesn't like to interact with people, and always shouts that people's hearts are unpredictable and it's better to befriend rats. So he never goes to those 4 camps. Although after the second upheaval, Lin Li secretly rescued 2 of the camps under Qiu Jian's orders, but Lin Li never showed up in front of those people. Moreover, after the second upheaval, the number and strength of the rats under Lin Li have increased dramatically compared to before. If Lin Li really wants to plot against Qiu Jian, he may succeed. After all, Qiu Jian's physical strength is not infinite, and it is impossible for him to maintain his destruction field. His rat army has already exceeded 400,000, and it can also consume Qiu Jian to death. But Lin Li is a grateful person. He knows that Qiu Jian's help is crucial to his current achievements, so he has always respected Qiu Jian and truly regarded him as his own family. Qiu Jian can also feel Lin Li's thoughts, so he would rather stay with Lin Li and keep company with the mice than go to lead the survivors' camp. Now looking at Wang Feng, Qiu Jian was silent for a while, and finally asked in a low voice, "Are you still hiring?"